Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of our special edition on Love Life. I'm joined by Drudula once again.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm
yes,
good. Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Pleasure.
Drudula, today we're talking about betrayal. Now, would you like to read the definition of betrayal,
Yes.
please?
Well, today is healing from betrayal, and it's what is it basically? Betrayal in a relationship refers to the act of breaking trust, often through deceit, disloyalty, or the violation of shared expectations.
I asked you to read the definition because some people, they think, well, this wasn't really a betrayal, was it? You know, it wasn't that bad. Don't be such a diva or whatever. I've heard this before from people who come for advice, and it's very insensitive of people to think that betrayal is something small. You know, why don't you forgive me, right? Obviously, you should always forgive, but we'll get into that very soon. However, you know, you need to understand what betrayal is about and what it does to people.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, let's have a look, Drudula, at some signs of betrayal. For example, let's say that you are in a relationship and you find that your partner is having some funny behavior. You know, you were dating and perhaps you are now together. You moved, you know, moved in together, you got married. I don't know what your situation is, but now you notice some strange behavior. Let's have a look at some symptoms, shall we say, of betrayal, okay? Would you like to read the first one, please?
The first one is secretive behavior.
And then what else?
Yeah. Emotional distance, lies and deception, lack of intimacy, defensiveness, change in routine.
So these are all some examples.
Yeah, I would say the main ones, But I would like to say as well is that just because you may see one of these several traits that I just read, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's betrayal.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just that these are the main ones that we often find.
Yeah, and you shouldn't just turn a blind eye. Like we spoke about on our previous episode about bonding with your family, knowing what's going on, having a good communication. You should do the same in your relationship, okay? You need to know what's going on. What's perhaps the other person is ill. Maybe there's something going on because he mentions lack of intimacy, emotional distance. So what is causing the person to be more withdrawn?
Yeah.
So,
Don't
you know,
just look at it and say, oh, there's defensiveness.
Yeah,
or there's a lack
it's
of
betrayal.
Intimacy, it's betrayal. No. These are just the main highlights.
But you would be surprised, Drudula, to know how many people they are going through betrayal and or they have been a victim of betrayal and they don't know what's going on. People these days are so busy, so distant, so disconnected that they don't realize, maybe some of them, and this is why it shocks them so much and it's really damaging to some people because it's like, I never thought he would do this to me or she would do this to me. I didn't know she was doing this to me and it's been going on for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. But what do we see these days? People are having a meal, which is supposed to be a romantic dinner or lunch, you know, I don't know, maybe it's a work meeting. But let's say you see a couple sitting for a meal, you're thinking, well, maybe they're going to have a nice chat. But no, each one are on their phones, scrolling on Instagram, seeing whatever trends. So they are not communicating and time goes by. They are in bed, guess what? One picks up his phone, the other one her phone, and they are there scrolling until it's time for bed, for sleeping. And then years will go by, nobody talks. So you don't perceive, you don't see signs. Same thing we mentioned about family life, isn't it? You don't notice key things in your children, in your family, because you are distracted. So look at how dangerous this is. This is why we are talking about something that is quite obvious, but I think will be helpful to some people. Definitely. Now, before we move any further, I would like to call for the street interviews, and please join us after that.
Can be a number of factors depending on what the person's going through: mental health, grief, depression, children, financial, such a broad spectrum, unfortunately, of betrayal. But to be on that side of betrayal and the letdown, and how and where to go and get the right help, obviously, and talk to people and get advice is the key, I imagine, to feeling better in it.
Lack of attention, lack of finances, bad hygiene, and not understanding.
In many cases, it's just stupidity.
I think it's usually out of a desire not to hurt the other person, or if the other person has wronged you. But the examples I know from my personal life would be, whenever you don't want to hurt someone that you're close to, you end up making decisions that you think is protecting them, but usually they're not. More a form of betrayal.
The word betrayal is quite interesting being used here. It's quite loaded, but relationships are about trust and about honesty. And if you're not being honest and you're playing away, how can your partner trust you?
Definitely, I think you lose that benefit of trust, as in, if it's gone, how do you then build those barriers back up once you've been let down? Very hard category to sort of subdivide, but I think once you've been betrayed, to build that trust barrier back up.
No, I think we all have that capacity within us. It's more about our ability to not give in to immediate gratification, is my belief there. So I don't think it does. I think all of us have that. It's our choice whether or not we act upon it.
Betrayal does change a person, but there's no trust or loyalty after.
When you've been in a situation where your partner's cheated on you, then it doesn't make you feel so trustful. And after a while, if it keeps happening, you can't trust them, and then you can't trust anybody. And I think that's just a dreadful place to be.
I think it does, because they've got to live with that guilt, and they've got that guilt all the time, and it just sits there and it changes their personality.
Personally, I would say not. I've never been in that, thing, but I would say I think once you've had those barriers broken, it will be a very, very hard thing to repair unless there was different factors and, providing that. But personally, if I'd ever gone through it, I would struggle with overcoming that.
I think it probably can, only if both parties are willing to do quite a bit of legwork to get back on track. But if trust is broken, that takes quite a lot of work to repair, I think.
Definitely, if you set boundaries in place, you can move forward. But I believe that you can fix things if there's boundaries in place. Both parties have to be willing to agree and to compromise on each other's wants and needs. So,
I think that depends on both parties, actually, because obviously the one being betrayed may find it difficult to recover, may never be able to trust again, and perhaps they, on another kind of person, might feel a bit more able to just try again. But I think it can be very difficult, because if you're not truthful in relationships, how can you trust each other?
I don't believe so. I think once that trust is broken, then there's no recovering from it, really. Back to square one.
If the person's betrayed, do you think they have trust issues going forward?
Yes, I would imagine so.
Welcome back. These were the opinion of some people on the streets of London. Very interesting, Radula. And one of them mentioned a few things: financial, reasons for betrayal. I don't think there could ever be a reason. I really believe that if you're not happy with who you are with, you should be very honest and not waste people's time unless you are very immature. And, you lack this very important principle that human beings should all have: honesty. If you don't like what you see, if you're not happy with being with that person, don't play with other people's feelings. Okay, so, but anyway, let's just discuss very quickly, because we have other things we want to share with you before we finish today. The program is, one of the reasons someone mentioned, obviously financial, he said, but also hygiene.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I was shocked,
there are
actually.
moments, there are situations, again, at our church, we do a lot of advice sessions. You can come for marriage counseling, marriage advice, singles, all sorts of advice when it comes to love life, and also spiritual help. But I remember speaking to a few about that they didn't know. They came to ask, how do I tell my partner that he needs to go to the dentist? It's really damaging our intimacy. I just can't kiss him. It's too much. So, this kind of thing. And others, I remember I spoke to a lady many years ago. She walked in one of our help centers, and she came for the seminar, if I'm not mistaken, that we have every Thursday, the love therapy seminar. And she spoke to me afterwards, and she said, I don't know why my husband is, not very interested lately, but I could smell it. And this is quite sad that, that the person, obviously, again, disclaimer, we are not saying that there is a reason why or an excuse for people to cheat on people. That is not human. Okay? It doesn't matter if you are Christian or non-Christian. It doesn't matter. There are animals that don't do that. They mate for life. But there are humans who don't understand that principle. But that's another topic for another day. However, you see, the person is not aware that she needs to take care of herself. She needs to shower every day and do other things. So that really caught my attention. How about you?
Well, I was shocked, but until you explained it, I never really thought about it. Again, I think it's just because I thought that would have just been communicated if you wasn't very happy.
But some people don't have the courage.
Exactly. So when you explained it, I understood, because for me it was like, if you're not happy with a smell, then you just let them know. But then when you explained it, I thought, oh, this is really serious.
It is, because think with me, and we've mentioned this before, because we are doing the Love Life special, aren't we? We try to cover every single topic that could be helpful. For example, you marry someone, your duty is to know that person from cover to cover. God made you so that you could be completely, totally compatible with one another. But you have to make each other compatible with one another by knowing each other's likes and dislikes, and also see what is not tolerated. For example, there's no way I could stay 1 week without washing my hair and be close to my husband. He would not accept that. Oh, but I have to cook every day. Water and soap. I have to sacrifice. Oh, but my hair, I straighten my hair every day. It's hard work. It doesn't matter. I need to please my other half, just like I expect him to please me, without judging him. If it makes him happy, such a small detail, let me wash my hair every day. But I prefer that he tells me than him being quiet and then resent me and then just look at other women passing by with very nice washed hair. Obviously, I'm talking about hair, but it could be anything else. Wow, that lady. Because I can clearly see it's something that he noticed from our dating period. So now that I'm married, I'm not going to slack off. I'm going to make sure that I keep my hair nice and washed.
It's
and
just
clean.
Compromise.
See what I mean? So it's about you knowing your partner and doing what you need to do like you used to when you were dating. Because you are still together, and as time goes by, you need to make more of an effort because he's a gift from God for you. So you want to be the best you can be for that person. Okay. Now, let's have a look at how to deal with, betrayal, how to heal after a betrayal. We're going to go through a few points here, and we will comment as we go along. Okay. Jordula, what's the first one?
The first one we have.
So unfortunately, the person was betrayed.
Yeah.
What should she do after that?
Okay. The first one we have is to acknowledge and accept. I think that this can work for both parties. As you were speaking about it, I was thinking there's a reason for everything, and we know we're not saying that we're not condoning it. We're not saying that it's a good thing, but if it's happened, there was a reason, and perhaps that reason is because you lacked compromise. You created excuses as to why you don't want to change certain things. I don't know. I'm not saying that.
Or maybe the other person was just a terrible
as somebody said,
and they
stupidity.
need help themselves.
Yes, exactly.
And they need to mature and go away and like a child, stay in the naughty corner and learn from your mistake.
Yeah.
I believe there are more victims than people who don't do what they need to do. There's both sides, okay?
Yeah.
But I understand what you mean. But let's say that the person was betrayed.
Okay.
She's hurting. Because today, Judul, I don't want to focus too much on the person who betrayed. We've established that people like that need help. We will talk about it another day, but now we want to talk to the victims, okay? Obviously, look at the situation, like you said, accept what has happened. In a sense, don't be in denial so that you can move on.
Exactly. Well,
right?
that's the thing about acknowledging. So
Yeah.
you've acknowledged that it's happened, and you've understood, you've accepted it. Not that you've accepted to continue just because you've accepted that it's happened. So then you have to ask yourself, what next? What do I want to do next? And I think the most important thing is talking to somebody that can help. So that doesn't necessarily mean picking up the phone and finding a friend that you know is going to agree with you and start saying things to you that's going to create hatred and anger inside of you. It's about finding that help that's going to help you calm down.
Find inner peace, right?
Inner peace, exactly. So it's finding the right help, speaking to the right people at the right time about what you're feeling at that moment.
Yeah. So it's important you have that moment of quietness to understand what happened and move on. Absolutely. Second one, be patient with yourself. What does that mean? One of the things is you will go through many feelings and emotions. You will feel very low in yourself. What's wrong with me? You will have low self-esteem. You will have many thoughts, many negative thoughts that will try to put you down. However, like Trudula said, you seek advice and you will be reminded that it wasn't just one person's fault, okay? And you have to be patient with yourself because you're not going to just, after a week of this happening, feel strong
better.
and that's it, nothing ever happened.
No.
You will have to deal with your emotions the right way so that you can move on and love yourself and not blame yourself, okay?
Loving yourself is definitely key. It's
Yeah.
definitely key. So the third one is give yourself space from the person that betrayed you if necessary. And that again is important because sometimes, I'm going to say it, sometimes, okay, you're hurting, perhaps you live with the person, you're hurting, and you know that being around them is not the right thing at that moment because you're hurting, and you know whilst hurting, you're probably going to do or say something that you're going to regret. But because you want to get your 2 pence in and you want to understand why, but how did it happen? Where did it happen? When did it happen? You want all the gory details. That's only going to antagonize and irritate you even further. Give yourself that space and say, no, I need to come away. I don't need to know why, where, when, how, now.
Yeah.
Perhaps later I can find that.
Maybe they still live together. Maybe there's children involved. Maybe you need to go to your family's home for a while.
Or ask them to go if you can't because of the children.
Yeah.
But find a way to give yourself that space just so that you can recuperate or recover in the right way, in a way that's not hurting you further. I think that's really important.
It is. It's a time where you need to know, hold on a second, what happened? What did just happen? I gave my youth to this person, and this person walked away with the best of my years and now wants nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
How unfair is that? But when you follow these steps, you seek advice from the right people. You seek advice, you have a moment, you respect yourself, you understand that you're going to go through many emotions, and then you give yourself the space that you need, then things start making sense. Hold on a second. It's not about me only. It's this person. And probably, chances are that you've seen signs in the dating period, but you still decided to go ahead. And this is just something here that I want to say to you that we always mention, okay? If you are dating, date properly. If you know that this person has a problem with being faithful. They don't understand the meaning of the word faithfulness. That person lies, that person is very slippery. That person has 5 mobile phones with 5 different pins. They are not very straightforward. Run away. Not a mile, but 10 miles. And don't stick around to see, oh, maybe he's going to change. No, the time to change is when you are dating, because that's when you should be at your best behavior or not. After you get married, why should I change? So, unfortunately, sometimes when I talk to some people who've been through that, I always like to ask, because I learn a lot for myself as well. And I said, have you ever seen any signs when you were dating? 90% say yes.
Yeah, that's the
I
honest
wish
truth.
I had stopped seeing that person back then. But anyway, step number 4 that you absolutely need to do is practice forgiveness. I know this sounds really difficult, but think with me, how is this fair that you were a victim of betrayal? In this case, we're talking about betrayal, and you keep reliving the situation in your mind. You feel your heart is full of hatred. You want revenge. How, that person already moved on? Because a person who betrays has a problem in her character. There's a problem there. You know, there's things you learn, there's things you can't learn. You need to be. To be is not the same as to learn something. So the person has moved on. You know, yes, sure, you know, this happened, but what can I do? See you later. Moved on, got married, I don't know, started dating, seeing someone else. And you are still there, years later, still there suffering from that betrayal. How is that fair? Forgiveness is something you do for yourself.
Yeah.
When you forgive someone, you are not the one who loses, like, oh, he won or she won because I'm forgiving. I am going to be seen as the weak one. No, no, no. You are doing good to yourself, because unforgiveness brings about, Drudula, illnesses, serious illnesses. And people who are watching us that have been through this, please leave your comments. Tell us what happened, if you want, as a result of how you felt. Perhaps it took you long to let go, to come to the conclusion that it was over. How did you feel? How did that mess with your health? So when you forgive, forgiveness is a decision that you make very rationally. You don't go like, oh, let me see what my heart says. No, your heart tells you to be depressed, to give up, but your reason says, hold on a second, you are a victim. Learn from what happened, which means be more selective next time, or perhaps you were really not aware. But move on, because you are worth a new life.
Yeah.
So forgiveness does you good. Forgiveness, you forgiving the person who hurt you has nothing to do with the person. Yet people think and they say, you know, oh, you forgave him? Look at the friendships. Be careful who you open up with. You forgave him? How could you do that? He doesn't deserve. Well, he's going about his life.
Yeah,
She's going about her life like nothing happened. And you are still there suffering. Forgiveness is for you, not for the person who hurt you, okay?
Yeah.
And then the last
one is avoid retaliation.
Yes, because you forgave.
Exactly, avoid retaliation. I think one of the worst retaliations that, because all types of retaliation is not good, but one that's come to mind is when you try to outlive what that person has done to you. So you've been betrayed, so you tell yourself, the next time I get into a relationship, I'm going to do worse.
Okay.
Or you say, just to get him back, just for him to see, you get into a relationship that you don't want, just so that you can put things on pictures on social media. You can say, oh, you know,
Look at me
I'm
moving
good.
on.
Yeah, I'm moving on. When you know you haven't moved on. And in fact, that act is just you covering up the hurt. So avoid retaliation, whatever level it comes at, avoid it, because it's more harm than good.
It's a time for the person to heal,
Yeah.
to think about herself, right? Now, Judula, before we finish, I want to speak to those at home who, perhaps you were the one who betrayed. You were the one who you betrayed, and you tell yourself, I don't know why I do it. I don't know why I keep doing it. I really try my best and this always happens to me. Listen, you need help. I'm not being sarcastic. You really need help because I know you're not happy. You are very unhappy. You don't want to do it, but there is something that is stronger than you that pushes you to flirt, to play with fire. I have an invitation for you, actually. I would like to invite you to call our helpline now or to send us a message. The details are on the screen right now. I challenge you, please talk to one of our pastors, receive a prayer because you need spiritual cleansing. There are evil spirits that act on, that work on people's mind, like the same spirits that make people addicted to something. They don't want to be addicted, but they can't help themselves. It's a spiritual problem that will only be resolved if you go through spiritual cleansing. At our church, we have the Friday services, spiritual cleansing services, where you receive guidance, where you receive strong prayer. And I challenge you to try it, and you will be a new person, okay? What's behind that addiction, I will say it's an addiction, is an evil spirit. And you can only be free when God sets you free, okay? You can read, Judula, as many self-help books as you want. Yeah. If you don't go through a spiritual cleansing, you will agree with me. I know this is something that people who betray will ever confess, but it's stronger than you and you don't want to do it. But there is help for you, okay? I have spoken to many couples, my husband and I, we do this on a weekly basis. We've heard couples, Rudula, where one cries saying, listen, I want this to work. But I don't know, there's always something that happens and comes between us. Come for spiritual cleansing, okay? Remember, look after your soul. Your soul is the most important thing you have, all right? If you have any comments, like I said, please leave your comments on the section below and get in touch with us and join us again next week and share the program, all right? Anything else, Radula?
I think that was spot on.
All right. Yeah. So thank you for joining us once again, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Are you in search of help and support? Welcome to the Universal Church. Our UK headquarters, the Cathedral of Miracles, is located in Finsbury Park, North London. Here you'll find a warm smile, a listening ear, and a welcome like nowhere else. We understand the pains that many go through, and we take it upon ourselves to assist you through your most difficult times. At the Cathedral of Miracles, we have tailored meetings, which hold 4 times a day, to help you fight the different challenges in your life. Whether it's a health challenge, a financial difficulty, a family problem, or a disappointment in your love life, there is a service to strengthen you and someone to guide you with whatever you're going through. Our pastors and volunteers are available for a face-to-face conversation, free of charge, to help you resolve any issues you may be facing or to provide spiritual guidance on any topic. The Cathedral of Miracles is open 7 days a week from 6:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. with a 24-hour helpline of 020 7686 6000 to receive your calls around the clock. We also have a WhatsApp number of 020 7686 6010 for you who want to reach us via text. Whether you're affected by insomnia, panic attacks, anxiety or fear, there's a solution available for you. Many have come through our doors and received the clarity and peace that had long eluded them. You have a family here and a home away from home in the Cathedral of Miracles. Let us encourage you to develop an intelligent faith to enable you to conquer your goals and fight for happiness. We are here to help, to support, to encourage, to advise, to teach, to enable, and to guide. Join us at the Cathedral of Miracles at 232 Seven Sisters Road, Finsbury Park, London, N4 3NX. We await your arrival.